a lot of credit has been given to the likes of Bruno Fernandes with the turnaround of Man United's form. But how much credit is it to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer himself as a coach and as a manager, Rene? You've worked with him when he was coaching the reserves.
Yes, but managers are partly responsible of bringing the right players in. And Fernandes is that player who has got that Manchester United DNA in everything, in the way that he plays. He's got great energy, and he's very positive. He always likes to go forward. He's got an element of risk in his play. He's got these cutting edge to his passes, and he also recognises when to play the ball one touch. That created a completely different rhythm, and to be able for them to slot him in straight away and don't take him out, so sort of phase him, and he knew how important he was. That was part of the missing piece. And the other players have responded to it really, really well. Fernandes himself settled in fantastically well. He looks like a very vibrant person. I think in terms of communication, he's very strong. He's always talking. He sets very high standards. You can see that when something doesn't come off in the game, he's annoyed with himself. And all that rubs off to the other players. And if you then get the flow of the game, you get the chances, you start scoring the goals, you start winning games, all that accumulates. And he's been very instrumental to that. And Ole has been obviously very instrumental to that, because he's obviously brought him in, one, and secondly, he put him in the right position where he should be playing.
But how is he like as a coach in terms of his personality? I mean, when we look at that interview, he looks like he's someone that you can strike up a conversation with where you bump into him. But does he have that little edge as well to his coaching abilities?
100%. I got to know Ole really, really well when he sort of came to the back end of his career. I did the reserves at the time at United, so he came to train a lot with us. He was a fantastic role model for all those younger players in that reserve team. I sort of made him almost a little bit part of my playing staff. I let him do things in training. I let him sort of talking about certain situations, what he would have expected as a player and what the wingers should do, etc., etc. So he had a big interest of the game, always had. Tactically, the understanding of the game is very, very, very good. He can read the game. He can see, what needs to be done. Obviously, in his personality, because he's always been associated with as the silent assassin. When he was quiet and he just went about his business really, really quiet. But he has definitely, developed himself as a person, as a coach, as a manager, by doing the reserves at United himself, going to Molde, where he's done a terrific job in Norway, obviously in his own country, in his own language. That has helped him. But he's got that stability in his personality. And the most important thing is that has shown through, I think, through all the time that he's at United now. I always say every manager needs about, give and take, 18 months to get his team what he wants and in the way that he wants them to play. There's no going away from it. You go to some good patches, what he did at the start. He went to a really bad patch, really difficult for him with a lot of criticism and everything. You need to just stay stable. And he can do that because he knows what Manchester United is about. He experienced it. He knows what the fans expect, the style of football they expect, what everybody expects, competing for trophies, and that is what he tries to build. And that's why I like about his personality. He knows what he's doing, and you can hear that the way he speaks about things.
And then another thing on top of that as well, Michel, is the fact that Solskjaer had that fairly brief spell at Cardiff City as well, which went really badly wrong for the club at the time, and he was held responsible for that. But from that, he will have also gained great knowledge, great experience. It would have been part of his football education as a manager. And you don't have to have just good times to learn. Often some of the best lessons learned are in your bad times. And I would think he became a richer manager knowledge-wise from that difficult time at Cardiff.
So yes or no then, is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the man to bring Man United their Premier League title, Rene?
Yes, and again, he seems to have the right backing in the club, and like I said, the players that he brought in so far, and you go back to obviously Maguire and Wan-Bissaka, and now Fernandes, and obviously the young players that are coming through. With Greenwood, with Rashford, we've got plenty of potential. How far are they away? It's hard to say. I see United at this moment in time. It's a team that on the day can beat anybody. Any top team in the world. You can put them up against Real Madrid or Juventus, or they have the ability now to beat anybody. But to consistently compete at the highest level, to making sure they also have a little bit of a characteristic of being able to get beat by anybody on the day. And that inconsistency, that needs to go out. And that is because the team is so young, especially if you look at the front four, they can show some vibrant football. But if you play up against the biggest teams, you have to be so consistent in your performances to make sure that those performances turn into results. And that is the learning curve. But like I said, there is no reason for anybody to remove Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because you have to start again from scratch, and everybody can see that they are on the right way at this moment in time.
Is it also a yes for you then, Gary?
Well, I've got to add a little bit more to that than a straight yes. And the reason I say this is because, number one, I believe Solskjaer is the right manager for Manchester United at the moment. But 30 years ago, I didn't expect Liverpool to go 30 years without winning the top flight again, okay? So even with the right man at Manchester United, you're up against Liverpool, you're up against Manchester City, you're up against a Chelsea side that is also spending as well. And who knows what other clubs might be able to do. Strictly speaking, to win the Premier League, you're not just taking on one club, are you? You're taking on 5 or 6 clubs at least who believe that they can win it. So can Solskjaer win the Premier League? Eventually, yes, he can, but is he going to take 30 years? Because if he's going to take 30 years, he won't be at the club at that time.